So hopefully my internet will act right. Hey, we are live. So I'm going to assume it's acting right. Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome to the Melanated Air Hour. I am one of your co-hosts, Lene Javette. I'm joined today with Keisha Ravenel at We Inspire Brands. What's good? What's good? Come on in the room. Come on in the room. This is the Melanated Air Hour. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern. We come in and we talk about something Black for an hour from a business perspective. Today, we're talking about personal development. We're talking about the 10X factor, which is what a lot of people call peak performance, right? When you 10X your energy, you 10X your development, you 10X your money, you 10X your business, you 10X your love, you 10X your health and wellness. 10X is like reaching the peak, the pinnacle, right? And so the question the conversation we want to have today is, can and or do and or how can Black people reach their peak potential, right? Both myself and Keisha just came off of conferences that we went to. I just came off of the Unleash the Power Within conference for 4 days with Tony Robbins. Keisha was at a conference, and we want to talk about, there's so many things to talk about. There's so many things to unpack.
Yeah.
One of those being how many Black people are in the rooms when you go to these types of personal development, career development, financial development conferences. There's a conversation on if we're not at a 10X level as a community, where are we?
Right.
There's just so many things to talk about. How do you develop personally? How do you do career development? How do you develop financially? How do you get to where you want to be? So we want to have that conversation today. But before we get into that, I want to ask the room, hey, Sanford, hey, ESH, that's me, hey, Jermaine. The first thing I want to ask those of you guys that are here right now is, have you invested in personal development? Have you ever actually paid for personal development? And if you have, what was it? And if you have not, why not? Okay. Yeah. So in the comments, tell us if you have actually invested in personal development. If you did, what was it? And if you haven't, why not? Okay. Keisha, what training did you go to this weekend?
So my mentor, he had a training in Atlanta. So I flew down to Atlanta and to attend his training. So he is all about monetizing online. So his thing is the Monetize Online Business Blueprint. So he has clients from all over where he teaches us how to scale our businesses, how to market. He teaches, sales and like all of that stuff. So that's where I was at. And that was my first time like in Atlanta. So that was like pretty cool. But yeah, so that's where I was at this past Thursday. I actually had to leave early Friday. So his training was a 2-day training, but I had to leave early. So I didn't get a chance to attend the second day. But he did say that he would send me the replay. So I'm looking forward to that because I know I missed a lot on that second day. So I was like, oh man, like I need all the jewels. Like I need all the jewels.
Hey, Madam President. Hey. So Keisha, so you went and took a training on learning how to monetize in your business, right? So monetize your business.
Yes, okay. Monetize my business.
Was this the first class you've taken relative to your business?
No. Okay. So every Monday I meet with my mentor. So he has a group every Monday. And for almost 2 years now, every Monday we've been meeting. And that's important to me because one thing about me is I need support, I need community, and I need education. So when it comes to my business, if I'm not getting education, I'm not motivated. So if I'm stagnant, if I'm staying at one level, I feel like, oh, I already know this. I already do this, right? But if I'm constantly learning, I'm like, ooh, I can implement this. And it gets me excited about implementing things in my business. It gets me excited about growing. So that's why I make sure I invest in my education because I know what investing in my education does for me on like a spiritual, emotional level, right? It's not just like, oh yeah, it'll help. That's great too, but it gets me excited.
Or, you made a good point. And Madam President, I'm about to come to you next. You made a good point, especially when we're talking about Black people specifically. you do get stagnant when you don't know. So there's a lot of people who want to have a business, who want to start a business, or who have started a business, right? They got their LLC, they've got their domain name, but then they get stagnant because they don't know what to do next.
Right.
So career development, personal development, business development, that helps you get unstuck. That helps you to know what comes next.
Yes.
One of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation is because if I were to guess, since probably 2013 to today, and this is 2021, so let's say the last 8 years, I would guess that I have probably invested in courses and conferences at least $10,000 to $15,000, at least. And that's not even a lot. Like, that's not even a lot of money, right? But when you start thinking about becoming better, getting more knowledge, learning how to monetize, learning how to brand, learning how to make money, learning how to do real estate, learning how to triple your income, you have to show up and develop yourself. You have to invest in yourself. And then there's this return on investment. The reason why I wanted to have this conversation with us specifically is because the event I just came back from, there was 8,000 people at this event. 8,000 people at this event, and less than 1% were Black people.
Wow.
Now, that's this event. Now, I say that to say this. It was a white, not that it was a white event. It was Tony Robbins. He's a white man, right? It's 8,000 people, less than 1%. But a lot of the rooms that I go into for personal development, career development, business development, financial development, I am a lot of times I'm one of, a few Black people.
Right.
And so I'm always talking about, we as a community, we have to develop ourselves. We have to get better with career development. If you want to go further in your personal life, in your career life, in your financials, like, there's things that we have to invest in ourselves to know, to have, so that we can show up and demand more money. We can show up and demand to get paid what we're supposed to be as an entrepreneur. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, we charge less just because we don't have the knowledge and the information to appropriately price our products.
100%. 100%.
Right?
And
so,
go ahead. I was just going to say, to your point, another reason why investing in my education is so important is because I teach people. So if I'm teaching, if I'm training, it's important for me to continue to grow and develop, because I don't want to stay where I am. Like, I want to bring my people with me, right? So, like, if I'm bringing them to my level, but I'm not growing, then how can I continue to pour into them? So I feel like that's also important for me. Like, so yes, I want to help my business grow, but I also want to help my client's business grow. So, and I can only do that by continuing my education.
Absolutely. Hey, Madam President, so question for you. When you started your business, did you take any classes? Did you walk into entrepreneurship knowing what to do? Did you go to any conferences? How did you get to be where you are today from a business perspective?
Well, I just want to say that I had a lot of trial and error.
Okay.
And what happens when you have enough trial and error, it costs you so much money. You start trying to figure out, can somebody help me, please?
Yeah.
So I think, you start with trial and error. Some of the trial and error, you have to have just as a new entrepreneur, because that is just how it works. Mm-hmm. And then some of it, what you can prevent, you just try to prevent. Like people who build homes, their first house, they learned that, hey, I probably spent a whole lot of money that I shouldn't have. And then by the time they built their fifth and sixth home, it's like, oh, I can do this eyes closed. I know supplements. I know how to get you exactly what you want by using a different material, etc. They know where you can shortchange. Maybe you can shortchange on a chandelier, but you can't shortchange on piping, Yeah. So it's like, I think just understanding trial and error, just going through that process as an entrepreneur, it's so essential. But I think it comes a time where you start to come to terms with, I need help. I need somebody to give me insight, knowledge, point me into a better direction. And what you will find is people will help you. But here's the thing. People are not going to hand you their blueprint. Some people want people to hand them everything. And it's a thin line, because a lot of people there's this very thin line between helping and handing, right?
Mhm.
So it's like somebody could say, well, you have this, so say for instance, if I want to open up a lip gloss company, even if Rihanna was my friend, she wouldn't be like, hey, yeah, let me give you all of the Fenty formula. You just use mine and it don't work like that, right? Where her help may come in, it's like, hey, I got a few manufacturers, or I have a factory, that you could utilize or get you some good rates. But, the work, nobody can do that part for me. And I feel like in entrepreneurship, sometimes, people, trust and believe. I've had plenty of days where I was like, dear God, are you sure I'm not a trust fund baby? Are you sure? like if I could be, come on. But I definitely feel like, it's a lot of trial and error, Lene. And then ultimately, I began to understand that some of this is an investment that's going to be required.
Absolutely. So I wrote down a couple of questions that I've been asked over the years relative to conferences, because I recognize that a lot of times people want to invest in themselves. You want to go to a conference, you want to go to a seminar, but it does take an investment and it costs money. And so a lot of people will ask me, how can I show up for myself? How can I invest in my personal development? How can I invest in business development if my funds are limited? And I think that is a great question, because I think a lot of people want to know better. You want to do better. You want to 10X. So I'm going to give you a couple ideas and tips. Number one, when I first started getting into conferences, my job paid for it. If you have a job, if you are employed, and you can find a conference or a seminar that is relative to what you do, a lot of times your job, your employer, they will pay for you to go to these conferences. My first couple of conferences were funded through my employer. So if you have a decent company and you can find a way to get them to pay for you to go to a conference, have them pay for you to go. It doesn't cost you anything, okay? So that's one of the easiest ways to go to a conference. One of the easiest ways to participate in a conference is to have your employer pay for it. That's number one. Number two, another simpler way for you to attend a conference is to look for sponsorship. A lot of times different conferences and seminars, they will have some type of a sponsorship, meaning they will be giving out X amount of tickets to people who have hardship, or to individuals that want to attend, but they might not have the funds. So if there's an event that you want to go to, closed mouth don't get fed. Ask, hey, do you have any sponsorships? Are you guys sponsoring any tickets, or do you have any tickets on a sliding scale fee? Some of these larger conferences, they do. So that's another way for you to go. The third way is to ask for a sponsor. Like, again, closed mouth doesn't get fed. I've gotten to a place in my career now where I sponsor other people. So if I know somebody and I know they want to go to a conference and I'm not going to it, or even if I'm going to it, I'll be like, hey, I saw you had an interest. The ticket is X amount. Would you mind if I sponsor your ticket? And I'll sponsor somebody's ticket. So don't be afraid to ask somebody, or put it out into your network and your community and say, hey, I really want to attend this event. Would anybody be interested in sponsoring me?
Yes.
I would like to think and believe that we all want to see those that we love and care about do well. And if somebody throws up the bat sign, I have to believe that the people that love you want to see you do well, and they'll show up for you.
Right. And one thing, I don't have a business credit card yet, and I'm working on it, but I do have like my business bank account. So like I invest in myself from there. So like when I get my profits, I invest in my education. So I invest in my trainings, and that's also a tax write-off for your business. So like these are, and I know that's like a higher level than like maybe like what Lene was saying. Like I said, I'm not like a business credit expert. Don't come to me like, oh, what you was talking about that business credit? I'm not your girl for that. I'm just saying, like, if you have a business banking account or a business credit card, you can put these conferences on there. Me and my mentor was actually talking about this last week when I was in Atlanta, and he was just like, you don't have your business credit card yet? And I'm like, I'm working on it. I'm gonna get it. And he's like, yeah, like you could put this stuff on your business credit card and write it off. And I was like, yeah, like for sure. So that's also another way that you can attend these conferences and trainings and online classes and write it off, and even like education. Like I said, I meet with my mentor every month, and I mean every week, and there's a monthly fee for that, but I'm able to write it off on my taxes, on my business taxes. So that's something to think about as well.
All right, cool. So another question that I'm asked a lot is, how do you know which conferences to attend? Like, how do you pick a conference? Because there's a lot of conferences, there's a lot of seminars, there's a lot of summits, there's a lot of events. How do you know which one to attend? We'll go around the room. How do you pick the conferences that you're going to attend?
For me, we all know that I know you, like you, trust factor, right? That's how people purchase from you. That's how people want to be around you, whatever. So like for me, if I know you, like you, or trust you, like I would be open to attending a conference. You can also get recommendations. So like let's say there's someone that you don't really know very well, but there's someone that you do know. So like let's say a friend of my mentor is having a conference. I can reach out to my mentor and say, hey, like, do you think this conference would be good for me? Like, what type of person is this? Like, what do they teach? And then you can get that recommendation. Follow this person, right? Or these people, like, see what they're like. And then also look at what the conference is about. Like if the conference is like far fetched from like who you are and what you want to do, then maybe stay away from that conference. If you look at the conference and say, hey, like I think I may be able to get something out of this, then go and try it out. I was thinking about this earlier. Like a lot of people are scared to get duped, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to get duped. But sometimes that comes with the territory and it's unfortunate, but it's just like, take the risk. Like you may get something very meaningful out of it. And another thing that my mentor had told me the other day, he was just like, I've attended a lot of conferences, and a lot of these conferences, I didn't really get anything out of it except for the network. So he said, I didn't really learn anything, but the person sitting to my left and my right and the people that I networked with, I was able to get those contacts and build those contacts. And I'm like, well, that's very important too. So I also don't want anyone to feel like, oh, like I didn't learn anything from the speaker. That was a waste of money. You should always be finding a way to network, to grow your network. So like I said, even if it's not something that it's like, damn, I can't apply any of this to my business, you should have networked with at least one or two people that can help you to grow your business.
All right, Madam President.
How do you know which conference to attend?
Yeah, like how do you pick a conference to go to or a seminar to attend?
You know what? It's the people I like. That's how I go. That's how I decide. Like if I really like this person as a speaker, what they represent, what they offer, then I'm going, I'll try to be in attendance. And I don't know if I'm thinking about the return more than I'm thinking about enjoying myself. I feel like that's how I pretty much have chosen what conferences I like to attend. And I'm not really walking away thinking that people got the formula to, turn me into a different person. I'm like open to the insight and the empowerment and the message and the nuggets. And also too, like that intricate information, like just a little bit sometimes that you don't know, because you got to be mindful of or grateful for what God allows you to hear and what he allows you to see, because those things are supposed to have an impact on how you move, right? So like you go and you hear something, it could be life changing, just pretty much like Coca-Cola, bottle it, and pancakes, people gave them insight on how to turn these ideas into multi-million dollar brands. I'm just going to use Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre goes to his attorney, and he's talking to him about what he wants to do next, and his attorney is like, Dr. Dre's like, y'all want to do some shoes. That's what Dr. Dre said. I want to make shoes. And the attorney tells Dr. Dre, and this is very important. The attorney says, do you think people want to wear a pair of Dr. Dre's? Do you think? He said, dude, he said, people want to hear like you. They want to hear. You are a dude who produced music. So he said, let's come up with headphones, right? That's Dr. Dre's $1 billion idea. Headphones. It didn't even come from him. He wanted shoes. Somebody else reminded him, Dr. Dre, you're the person who produced music. People want to hear music from your ears. So there you have, you know, Beats by Dre, multi-million, billion-dollar company, you know, through communicating to someone else and someone else implementing a different, you know, concept. So you just hear something different and it could be applied. So, I mean, that's how I pretty much choose. If I like the person or what they represent and I want to hear them and I'm feeling like I'm going to be empowered, like I'm going.
Mm-hmm. So when you're thinking about how you select a conference, there's all of those things are valid and they're all important because you definitely want to like the people that you're going to see, but sometimes you might go see somebody you've never even heard of them. So when I'm looking at a conference, I'm looking at what is the information? Is there a gap? Is it something that I'm missing? Am I missing the information that's going to be taught? Because if I'm showing up to a conference, I damn sure want to leave having got something, having learned something, transformation, network, something. I do not want to walk away empty. If I'm making a financial investment in a conference, a seminar, a summit, with my money and my time, because it's time too, right? Depending on if it's a virtual or if it's in person or if there's a hotel attached to it, there needs to be some type of a return on investment. I can like you and show up at your conference and still not get anything from you. I've gone to conferences where I didn't even know who these speakers were, but the information was what I was showing up for. And I walked away having gained knowledge, insight, and now finding somebody new to follow. I went to a conference not too long ago by Grant Cardone. He's one of the #1 salespeople in America, maybe in the world, Grant Cardone. He did this 10X conference. And I went to it under the assumption that I was going to walk away from here with the 10X life, and I didn't. Now, I say that to say this. It was Grant Cardone's conference, but I did not go to see Grant Cardone. I went to see Kevin Hart. I went to see Kevin Hart, Magic Johnson, and Marie Forleo. And those individuals showed up and showed out, got what I went for. So you have to show up at conferences and seminars with some type of intentions of what you want to receive. The conference I just went to, Unleash the Power Within, I walked on fire. It was transformational. It was life-changing. I literally have the brochure still sitting here, but it walked me through the ability to change my state. It talked to me about peak performance, it talked to me about my belief systems, how to get to my end goals and results, what's standing in my way, what are those mental boundaries. It was so life-changing. Like I'm super on fire and ready for what comes next in my life. That's the reason why I wanted to have this conversation, was because I wish there was more Black people in that room to be at that peak level, dealing with those mindset barriers, dealing with those limiting beliefs, dealing with life's traumas and past traumas and the things that hold us back from really operating at our peak state, like really being who we know we can be, who we want to be, who we believe we are. But then that voice comes and talks to us and they're like, girl, you can't do that. Your mama didn't do it. You can't do it. Your sister didn't do it. You've been this way. It's been this way. Because until we deal with those things, we can't break these generational curses that we know we have.
Right.
That mindset piece is super important. A lot of times in our community, we invest in financial information. We're going to invest in real estate. We're going to invest in making more money, but a lot of times we don't invest in making us better.
Yeah.
Making our mindset better, changing how we think, increasing our potential. We miss that opportunity. And it's just a different type of investing, right? Yeah. So it's not just the financial investment. There's career development to make you a better person and professionally. There's financial development, which makes you a better financial person. There's business development, which helps you to have a better business. And then there's personal development, which helps you to do all of those things better. Mm-hmm. So the next question I would ask, because I get this question asked a lot, is how do you know how much money you should invest in something like this? Like, how much money should you invest in personal development, career development, or business development? And that's a catch-22 question, because it depends on multiple factors. One, who the person is you're going to see, who's speaking, because top-notch speakers and authors and business people, they ask for a pretty penny.
Right.
It depends on how much, how many days are it? How much access are you going to get to that person? What is the result of the conference? So it varies. You can literally invest in yourself for as little as $20. Literally, $20.
Yeah.
Up to $10,000. Up to $10,000. It really just depends. Like you have to decide and make choices and decisions on what is your future, your increase, your mindset, your knowledge, your capability worth to you.
Yeah. And I want to mention my business owners who are like maybe coaches, like in the coaching space or whatever. Why do you expect people to invest in you if you're not investing in yourself? Right. So you want people to pay that price for your coaching, but you're not willing to pay for coaching. Like how does that work? So that's how I think about it as well. Like, why should I ask for someone for X amount of dollars to invest with me if I'm not willing to give that to someone else?
Absolutely. Another question that I get asked often is, what type of conferences are there? Like, I don't even know what kind of conference there is. Like, how do I even show up if I don't even know what kind of conferences there are? Which is a great question. There are business conferences. And when I say conferences, I'm talking about summits, webinars, teleconferences, virtual. I'm talking about all the gamut, right? Online classes, all of it. There are opportunities to develop in business, to develop in marketing, to develop in branding. There's classes to develop in knowing how to do your hair. There's classes on makeup, classes on typing, classes on leadership. There's classes on health and wellness. There's classes on t-shirt. You want to start a t-shirt company. There's classes, literally anything that you can think of. If you feel like you're lacking in that area or you want to be better or develop in that area, there's a class on it. Crypto, if you're not familiar with crypto, there's a course on that. Real estate, literally anything, any area you may feel that you're stagnant in or you aren't as well versed in that area as you would like, you can literally take a class, take a course, go to a conference, do a summit, do a webinar, and get the information that you need to be better developed in that area. Why is that important? More money, more money, more money.
Can I give a little hack for like finding conferences that you're interested in or seminars or workshops or whatever? So a little hack that I recently used in like September. So I was looking for a Shopify expert. So as you guys know, like I help aspiring t-shirt business owners start their t-shirt business. So I feel like I reached my peak when it came to building Shopify stores. So I wanted to learn more. So I asked around and I was just like, hey, like I asked like people in my mentor group, I asked like, mentors and stuff like, hey, does anybody know like a Shopify expert? And then a couple people was like, well, when people ask me about Shopify, I just send them to you. And I'm like, no, not me. Like I need me, but like with 10 plus years of experience. So what I did, I started searching like hashtags, searching Google, but I didn't do too much I didn't do too much searching because I knew based on analytics and the algorithm that because this is what I was searching for, that's what was going to pop up. So like maybe for like a day or two, I was just like, all right, like Shopify expert or, just typing in like all of these different things. And sure enough, I started receiving ads for different Shopify experts, different Shopify trainings. And then I found one that I was just like, oh, this sounds very interesting. Like, and then I did the training and it was amazing. And it was only like $27. It was crazy. But that's a little hack. So if you want to find something, just type it in on Instagram, like type in the hashtag or type it in on Google, because that's how like algorithm, like you probably hear algorithm and all of that stuff. That's how that stuff works. So try it out and let me know how it works.
Hey, Teddy. Teddy's not here with us today. She's in Egypt. They're working on her internet so she can come to us and be more fluid on a regular basis. Teddy, you left this comment that says it doesn't work. Investment in self is key, but I don't know what you're referring to.
I was talking about when I was like, how does that work? Like, if you don't invest in yourself, why do you expect other people to invest in you?
Okay. I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure we honored her comment there. The other thing I wanted to talk about before we kind of head out here is being the smartest person in the room. I recognize, and I've talked to people. She said, "Hey, loves. Hey, boo. Hey, daddy."
Miss you.
One of the things that I hear people say often, probably more times than not, and I want to just address it here with us in this room, is I don't like not being the smartest person in the room, or I don't like feeling like I'm dumb, or I don't like going to these conferences and events because I don't know the information. I don't know what they're talking about. And so a lot of times we are held back by our fear. We're afraid to feel like we don't know the information. We're afraid to ask for help. And that fear keeps us in a very stagnant position. I will tell you, I love being the dumbest person in the room. And I know that sounds weird, but sometimes you get tired of being the smartest person in the room. Right. You cannot grow. Would you like, Madam President, Star 11, you cannot grow. You cannot grow if you're the smartest person in the room. And if I'm being honest, you will be drained. You will get empty because all you're doing is pouring out and giving your knowledge and giving your information away. If you don't go into a room where you can suck up information and suck up knowledge and get more wisdom and learn, the Bible says people perish from lack of knowledge, right? You have to continuously get knowledge. You do not want to be the smartest person in the room. You want to be in a room where you can elevate and get more information and grow and develop. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay if you don't feel smart. It's okay if you don't have the knowledge. It's okay if you don't have the information. What's not okay is if you stay in that space, if you stay in that room, if you stay feeling ill-prepared, ill-advised, and ill-educated. What would you guys say, or how would you guys encourage somebody who wants more knowledge, wants more information, wants more development, but may be afraid to go out and to seek it, to find it, or feel, like the lesser person in a particular room or situation?
Well, the one thing I would say is, there are times where you have to kind of silence the hate that's within. You have to dig really, really deep and silence it. And another thing that you will learn is, I love going into places because I feel like I'm going to figure out what my superpower is, right? So I feel like if you give yourself the opportunity and kind of understand how it feels to be a student, don't look at being the student as being ignorant or less than or anything that the devil uses to keep you small. He will use everything against you. Oh, you a single mother, or you divorced, or oh, you fat. I'm taking my fat ass to this event, okay? That's what I do. The devil and the enemy uses every ounce of insecurity that you have within. It uses it against you so that you won't reach your full potential, so it constantly does it to you. So it's you gotta you gotta keep fighting, fight and get yourself out of that door, and then fight again to get yourself out of that car, and then fight again to get everything you need to be right there. And just don't let the enemy trick you out of these experiences because you want this, you need it. I am just completely, I feel like if I would allow the enemy to trick me out of so many different things that I wasn't qualified for. And I'm also have that space where, being unqualified, I don't know. I believe I still got that faith in me that, your grandmama sprinkle on you as you grow up. It's kind of God qualifies the unqualified. And, I believe in all of that stuff. So it's I'm showing up. I'm going to see what's going on. And when we was at the All Black National Convention, this lady told me, she was like, I saw you calling yourself Madam President. I said, who is this calling herself Madam President? I said, Madam President. You know, like, okay, hold up.
Let him know.
Like, I don't care. I feel like that, like, you know, a lot of times people will question because it's like, how dare you show up? But I'm telling you, I feel like you don't even know. It's kind of like in the superhero movies. It's like, dang, I went through this adversity. All of a sudden, I swung and I swung on somebody, and I come to terms that I got supernatural strength. You know, but if I wasn't in that situation, you know, to swing, then I would have never known. So, like, I feel like we should do that all the time. Keep trying.
Keep trying. Keep trying. Keep showing up. What about you, Keish?
You know, I feel that if you feel that you always have to be the smartest person in the room, then you're probably not that smart. So that's number one. And you really do need that personal development that Lene was talking about the other day, because that is ego, that's insecurities, that's all of those things. So find yourself a like personal development, a life coach, a therapist, something, right? Because you need to work on self. It's funny because I just made a post today, and you guys know, like, my line is I am enough. So my brand is Be Inspired brand, but like my clothing is I am enough. And one reason that I created that line is because I knew that through healing, like healing is not linear, right? So like that's another story. But I knew that I would always reach heights where I would feel like I don't belong, you know, where I would feel like I'm not good enough. But that's when it's time for me to conquer my wildest dream, right? So like if you don't go full force like into the things that you want to do and conquer it and allow it to teach you, allow it to let it grow, let it help you grow, you know, you're going to stay in one place. Like nothing grows in a comfort zone. So I just encourage you guys to jump out of your comfort zone. I read this article a couple years ago that said, jump out of your comfort zone. Don't step out of it, jump out of it. And I was just like, this is some good stuff. And I'm like, yeah, like think about when you go to the pool and the water is cold, right? And then you dipping your little pinky toe in there thinking like, all right, it's going to get warmer. It's going to get warmer. Like, and you over there dipping your pinky toe in, and then the little 6-year-old done jumped in the water and they having a good time, right? That's how you have to think about life. Like jump in, take the risk, you know? So that's what I have to say about it. For me, like I'm ready to conquer my wildest dream, no matter how much it may scare me, no matter how fearful it may be. Even this platform, like I remember like when we first started, I'm like, I'm on this platform with like all of these like dope ladies, like little old me. Like, how am I going to, you know, like sustain and survive this? Like, but I did it, you know, I did it, and I allowed myself to learn from you ladies. So I would say just do it, jump in. Yes, that's my best friend Danielle. I grounded my crown. For real, take the risk, jump in.
Absolutely. Teddy said, invest in yourself just 1% a day to reach your exponential greatness.
I love that.
Every 1%, like this, literally 1%. Like that's all it takes. A lot of times we were trying to go from here to here, right? And we're like, that will make you overwhelmed. Here to here will overwhelm you, but 1% a day.
Yes. 1% a
day, that's all it takes to reach your greatness, in order to 10x your life, in order to reach your peak performance, in order to operate at a peak state, in order to show up for yourself on a regular basis, on a daily basis in all the areas of your life. 1%. 1%, just a little bit more than what you're doing today. Investing in yourself, showing up for yourself, not falling for your fears. I love what Madam President said about that. Like, don't let that negative self-talk to you crazy. Take the talk with you. The event I was at, Tony said, dance with your fears. And he did this illustration. He was like, fear will try to bring hope. Fear tries to hold you back. He said, but if you take your fear with you, it's a dance. Dance with your fears. Your fears may not leave you, but that doesn't mean you still cannot go and produce and show up and do the things that you want to do. You just take fear with you. That's what courage is. Courage is operating and producing and succeeding in the face of fear, because the fear will be there. Right. And so it helped me to change one of my languages. One of the words I was using was confidence, but it wasn't confidence. I have confidence. It's courage. Courage is the thing that we need to be focusing on, because it's fear. It's going to be there, but having the courage to do that thing, to see that thing through, to operate, to launch, to produce, to speak, to show up, that's courage.
Yes,
absolutely.
I talked to my therapist about that today, y'all. That's crazy. That is coming up now. That is crazy. I tell you.
I'm so glad we're talking about this too, because I feel like there's a couple things that I want to do with an Airbnb, and it requires so much upfront costs, and I'm just like, I don't know. It's like, you're not fearful. What are you doing? Like, what you're not a fearful person. You know, you have resources, you have access to things. What the hell is wrong with you? You know? And I do believe that it's kind of like Oprah Winfrey Network. You know, it's one thing when you like owe somebody else, spending somebody else's money, but it's another thing when you spend your own.
Right.
I completely understand. Okay, so Veronica says, explain, invest 1% per day in yourself, please. Now, I'm going to explain it to you. Teddy, if you are still on, write it up, because it's your saying. So if you can write it up, I'll throw it up on the screen. But I'll give my personal interpretation of it, and we can go around the room so that everybody can do that. But investing 1% per day in yourself, right? That is taking the time to do something that's going to make you better, right? So that it is going to be different for everybody. That 1% could be self-care. It could be a positive message. It could be your daily devotion. It can be meditation. It could be prayer time. It can be an audio book. It's something that helps you to develop. It's something that helps you to be better. It could be career. It can be relationship. It could be health and fitness. It's taking 1% of your time, 1% of your energy, 1% of your mindset, 1% of your capacity, and directing it towards you. And not just towards you, but towards you being the best version of you, reaching the highest peak that you can reach, being the best person that you can be. All right. Teddy put her post there. She says 1% a day in a year is not just 365%. It's like 5,000%. So it's the little things that you do that add up to the big thing.
Yeah. And can I just add to that with Lene, you mentioned you don't want to go 0 to 100 because you'll get overwhelmed. And it's true. You know, you have to take it step by step. So like you can even think about lottery winners. I think it's like 70-something% of lottery winners, they win big, but they go bankrupt. And that's because they went from 0 to 100. So they didn't know how to maneuver that in between space. You know, so when you're going, you know, you're taking it 1% at a time, a little bit at a time, you're able to level up a little bit and conquer that next step. Whereas if you go from 0 to 100, you're not able to conquer and take all of it in. You know what I mean? So think about it that way too. And I know we live in a world of social media, which is so fake, where you see like all of these entrepreneurs and they're driving their Lamborghinis and Teslas and like all of that stuff. And it's like, I want to be there. But it's like, wealth is not like it's not a race, right? Like it's not, what did you call it? Like, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Like when you are acquiring wealth and growth, like all of that stuff is a marathon. So really be able to take everything a day at a time, soak it up, and then move on to that next level.
So to add to what Keisha is saying is a word that I would like for us to use in our community more is development. Yes. Development allows you to go through the process. So the definition of development is the process of developing or being developed. The process of starting to experience. That's the 1% each day. You don't have to have it all today. You don't have to show up and make it right all the time. Teddy said it. It's consistency that wins everything. It's doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's the 1% every single day. It's the consistent developing. It's the showing up for the Melanated Air Hour every Tuesday and Thursday. It's YouTube University. It's taking courses. It's taking classes. It's changing your network. It's working out. It's listening to positive information. It's reading books. It's developing. It's a process. Mm-hmm. It's not one and done. You see people online and you see them and you think they have it all together and that they're overnight success. And it doesn't work that way. They've been nurturing themselves. They've been growing. They've been at it for years. Trial and error, like Madam President says. It's a process. Yeah. And I really just want to see us go through this process and get to the other side and fully develop and 10x life and be peak performers in everything that we touch and everything that we do and every relationship that we have in our health and fitness, in our businesses, with the content that we create, how we show up for our business, in the businesses that we have, in the products and services that we produce, in the careers that we have, in the jobs that we have, in the parents that we are, in the husbands and wives that we are, boyfriends and girlfriends, homeboys, like all of that stuff. We can be peak performers. And if we are peak performers individually, we become peak performers as a community. That's the beauty of this thing.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's it. But today, I mean, we just came through for a quick second, talk to you guys about development, 10xing your life, 10xing your relationships, 10xing your career, your finances, how to show up for yourself. What does personal development look like? Career development, financial development. How much of it do you have to do? How much should you spend on it? Oh, the last one. When should you start it? Today.
ASAP. Right now.
Right.
As soon as possible. You cannot start personal development, career development, business development, financial development, wealth development. You cannot start any of that stuff too soon. So if you haven't started it, start it today. And if you have children, start them today. Right? You cannot start this type of development too soon. And we are not doing enough of it in our community, and we need to be. This might be a naive statement, and it might not even be an accurate statement, but if we can get our positive development, our career development, our personal development, we can get those things in alignment and start producing more high vibration, high intentionality, peak performers, we can slowly start closing this gap that we have with us and a lot of other people in the world.
Right.
We have to be intentional about showing up and developing in those areas to do that.
Lene, may I add, for you guys going to the conferences and the workshops, make sure you're applying what you're learning. So don't just go to these conferences and take these courses and classes and like, oh, okay, yeah, I did the work. Like that is only half the battle. Like you have to now apply what you've learned so that you can have momentum and forward movement. So I want to, and you guys know, I always say there's a difference between spending and investing, right? So you're still spending on these conferences and these workshops and on these online classes if you are not applying the knowledge. So make sure you apply. Do not be addicted to education, but allergic to execution, like my mentor would say. Like, don't do that, right? We're not doing that.
Yeah.
I love that.
You do buy a lot of classes, then you don't do anything. And
right.
That's the difference between, to Keisha's point, spending $350 on a course and doing nothing with it is spending.
Yep.
Investing $350 in a course and then making $1,000 off of that $350 that you spent, that's an investment. That's going to the course, figuring out what's wrong with your branding, figuring out what's wrong with your marketing, talking to the coach, tweaking it, and then going back out there, putting it into practice, and then 2xing, 3xing, 4xing, 5xing your income and getting a return. That's how development is supposed to work. Mm-hmm. And it's not always financial, right? It just depends on what you're going for. But you should see a return on that. Mindset change, life change, business change, financial change, weight change. You should see some type of return on that thing.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I hope that today's conversation has been beneficial to you guys. Let me know in the comments if you guys got something out of this, if it was beneficial. If you are going to now go invest in something for yourself, or for somebody else, let us know in the comments. We'll be back on Thursday. Today is Tuesday if you're watching this live. We'll be back on Thursday for the Melanated Air Hour. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday at 2:00 p.m. Eastern, where we come and we just spend the hour, an hour of refreshing conversation that's melanin and nature. We talk about life. We talk about business. We share experiences. We look to motivate and inspire. And we do this every week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's 3 of us today. We're missing Faye and Teddy, but Teddy's here with us. She's in the comments. What up, Teddy?
We have a special show on Thursday.
Oh, yes. Thursday's show is special. On Thursday, we are going to be talking about some special promotions we're going to be doing for Black Friday. So make sure you tune in on Thursday. I'll be putting out some and classes and coachings and things like that at a rate. I believe Keisha's doing some stuff. Madam President, she has a clothing line. She's probably doing some stuff. Teddy will be here on Thursday. She'll be doing some stuff with, I believe she did take the crypto and some of her other things. And so make sure you guys come back on Thursday because we will be handing out some Black Friday Black love around here.
Right.
Grounding my crown said, thank you, ladies. And then Teddy says, always investing in myself, my family, and my community. Super important. With that being said, please make sure you go out and love on and support all of the ladies of the Melanated Air Hour. You can find Madam President at the #1 Madam President with a Z. You can find Keisha Ravenel at We Inspire Brand. And you can find me at I am Lene Javette, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of the social media platforms. Go check us out. Go love on us. Let us know how you found us and that you support Melanated Air. And we'll see you next time, Thursday.
Bye.